We're in the middle of the peak summer here across the UAE, and for many people it is a time to go away with the kids, whether it's the school holidays, maybe do some travel. But for many people that are stuck here through work or for whatever reason, it can be sometimes a very frustrating period being locked away inside during the warmer months.
Indeed. I mean, see, while UAE does provide a bunch of opportunities to do a lot of things indoors, but still, as humans, you want to step out. You want to go out and experience the outdoors. While you're sitting cooped up inside the air-conditioned room, when you look out, you feel, oh, this looks good. Let's just step out. But the moment you are out, that whiff of humidity comes in and you say, rush in.
Well, how can you cope, and how can you cope with your mental fitness through some of these summer months? Next guest in the studio is a holistic health expert and the founder and CEO of the Wellbeing Sanctuary Training, Sarmistha Mitra. Thank you very much for coming into the studio.
It's my pleasure.
Great to have you here. What, 15 years you've now been...
15 summers.
15 summers.
Yeah.
I'll just get you to come a bit closer to the microphone because you're a bit soft there. 15 summers you've been here.
15 wonderful summers
And
of Dubai.
it is something between, as Neil said, humans are social creatures. We want to get together. We want to feel part of things. And when people feel frustrated in the summer, what is the main issue? Is it the weather? Is it the frustration? Is it the isolation?
I believe it's mostly in Dubai, it's FOMO.
Okay. You
It's
said
a-
FOMO means fear of missing out.
Yeah, because others are traveling. They're posting pictures on social media. So that's the main issue that drives people crazy in Dubai.
What they see that everyone's having a great time
Oh, how
in
come
Italy, in Switzerland.
I'm so miserable. My life is so miserable. I'm such a victim.
Ooh. But then that is for most of the time of the year, because everyone in Dubai generally posts some 300,000 pictures on the Instagram invariably.
True. But in summer we have more time, especially people
fair.
who have kids in school. The school is off, so 3 months or 2.5 months of break. So you have time to travel. You have time to do other things that you don't do other times of the year.
Right. So when something like this happens, and obviously the first thing to do whenever you are feeling troubled or you're feeling there's something wrong is to identify the root cause.
Absolutely.
Right? You have helped us identify the root cause right here in the first line itself, that listen, it's your Instagram, it's shut the gram out. But is it the only thing?
No, that's not the only thing, but that's the main reason. And we cannot switch off
Fair.
social media. We can't just lock ourselves from everything external stimuluses. But what we have to do, we have to understand our potentials and our limitations. If we are capable to go out and travel like you did, then of
3
course.
days.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
I mean, when you don't require a visa to travel, Kitch,
No,
it's very
no,
easy.
Yes.
This is a sensitive point,
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, we poor interns.
Oh, yeah.
So it's easy. You go out, you travel, you come back refreshed, start all over again. But if you cannot, if you have certain limitations like me, if I go out, my business, I have to switch off the business. So people like me who have to stay mostly because of my business reasons, we have to train our mind to accept the present situation and live as happily as you can given the circumstances.
So the challenges that the isolation that summer presents, your tips for coping, are they almost the same tips for any sort of real anxiety or any FOMO of aiming to be present and living in the moment and practicing gratitude?
Gratitude comes later, but first understanding your own potentials and limitations is so important, and then plan accordingly. And if you can, why not? If you can't, then accept the situation and manage. You can always do other things within your potential. Like I have planned every Saturday, I'm calling a choreographer. I love dancing. So I call every Saturday. My friend already knows about it. So
What
1
kind of
hour-
dancing? Ballroom? Samba?
Anything that like makes me happy.
Break dancing? Anything like?
Anything that makes me happy. Anything that my body permits to do.
See, break dancing, a little more training, and probably you could participate in the Olympics there.
And you can break your bones as well.
Oh,
So,
well.
so by the way, like what I'm trying to say, you can just be more innovative and do things that works for you and you like, The other day with a couple of my friends, I went to Dubai Bowling Center, after 12
Oh,
years.
lovely.
I went there and we had a wonderful time socializing as well as doing bowling over there, which I realized that my right hand always sends the ball to the left side. So sort of a lot of things I discovered by
Well,
doing
that's
all
because you're
this.
getting the right spin on it, isn't it? Coming off.
Exactly.
But I mean, they're the things that embracing the opportunities. You probably
Yeah.
wouldn't do that in December or January because you want to be outside enjoying the weather,
Exactly.
and then you're using it with the right mindsets
Yeah.
to be able to cope with this. For people who perhaps are struggling, because sometimes it's the support networks that's travelling as well, as much as it is the FOMO, and they're going through these isolations. When you get up in the morning, what's the first thing you should either be doing or thinking to yourself to cope with these situations?
So there are many things we can do. We can cultivate stillness, which many people cannot do. Even 5 minutes of stillness, if people can cultivate, it pays off 1,000 times more during the day to help you balance yourself during those moments of anxious bouts that come naturally to every person during the day.
Wait, you mentioned stillness. I mean, I know physical stillness, you sit in one place and just...
Mental stillness.
But how does one practice mental stillness? Because the mind is generally hyperactive.
Yeah, it is
Right.
a general thing. That's why we have to practice.
So what does one do? What are the steps? Are there any quick steps to understand what is the mental stillness? Because if I try and keep
Yeah.
quiet and try and focus on one thing, the very next instance I'm thinking about the India-Australia game that's going on right now.
It's called being a man.
So, how I understand stillness is a state of mental safety.
Okay.
Where
Oh,
in
that's a
your
good
mind-
line.
In your mind, you are feeling safe.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're feeling safe, then you can be still.
Okay.
It is let's say we have to cultivate this, we have to practice this. It doesn't come overnight.
Fair.
Our mind is, for evolutionary adaptation, as you said, gives us all those thoughts
Always,
that we
yeah.
require to survive on the planet.
Makes sense.
We can't take it away from the brain, from the mind, but we can parallelly practice what I call stillness, or many people call stillness, is acquire that state of safety where you can find that inner peace within.
You know, I used to go to a drama class back in Bombay, and this teacher used to use a term called shithil.
Yeah.
Shithil means literally lifeless, but you still have life within you, but you're lifeless. So you are mobile like water. You can be molded like clay, like soft clay. And he would say that shithilta jo hai wo andar se aani chahiye, na ki bahar se, which means that should come from within.
Yeah.
And most of us struggled. Most of us. Why? Because of what you mentioned, and that's why that thought suddenly connected me to
Yeah,
looking back to what, again, 20 years back, that shithil
That's a kind of state where you are moldable,
right.
isn't
But
it?
it is a state of being so
That you don't have taken a form.
you haven't taken a form. There is no rigid boundary to
so you haven't
yourself,
taken
physical
a
or
certain
mind.
form which you identify yourself with.
Right.
And you can shape yourself to any form. Flexibility, mental flexibility.
Right. And thus the next step to mental flexibility would be able to take the mind into that zone that you're talking about.
Absolutely. It's also
Wow.
being in the present, right? I have not taken a certain form which I identify myself with. So whatever is happening now, I'm also that.
Interesting.
Just hearing your voice, Sarmistha, you've made me shut up for even 2 minutes. I'm just feeling
No,
at peace hearing your calmness.
I have a very bad reputation that I put my clients to sleep when they come for session. So
But that's a good thing, isn't it?
yeah, if you are coming for sleeping, just sleep
Yeah.
deprivation, then you can follow to sleep.
Listen, for most of us that are struggling getting enough sleep, to find somewhere to go to sleep, if you're a new parent, that might be a good thing.
Yeah.
But
That might be a good business in Dubai.
well, let's talk about that off mic, and we can develop something. But for people that are coming to see you, what are some of the things that people, when they want to get in contact with you at the Wellbeing Sanctuary and they wanted to do training, what does a session with you entail?
It could be a point of distress that they feel overwhelmed with. It could be relationship. It could be any personal habits that they can't overcome. It could be sleep deprivation, or it could be weight. Anything that is a point of distress in life, which people want to find a solution. That's when people seek therapy and they come to me. But usually I feel that should not be the only reason why people should come for therapy to fix a problem. Therapy is for, or I don't call it therapy, I call it self-discovery. Basically, you are, just like when you go to the gym, you do whatever you have to do to build muscles in your body, to tone yourself, so that tomorrow, if there is a physical challenge, if you're going to the gym regularly, you'll be able to deal with the physical challenge
Fair.
better than someone who is at home and lazy.
So it's a workout from the neck up, really.
Exactly. So if you are regularly keeping your mind fit, then the day of distress, you'll be able to overcome that much better and come out stronger.
But isn't there a massive taboo still within the subcontinent population to actually meet someone professionally to talk about mental health issues?
Please forgive me, but this is usually, I think, I don't know if I would say this out loud, poor people's defense mechanism. The rich always had counselors.
Okay. But again, though weren't those professionally associated? Because I am a CEO, I want someone that I can voice my thoughts off, bounce my ideas off, and then come back strong and put in my hard yards, versus someone who probably required therapy but was like, no, you shouldn't be going there, there's no need for it, we'll talk it out within the family.
Just think about in the olden times, the kings and the leaders, they all had their counselors.
They did.
Because they could afford it.
Fair.
And they needed it. Because they were making very important decisions.
True.
But it also would depend on someone's definition of counselling.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that idea of that mental stillness and the mental safety. You know, for a lot of people, obviously, yes, they're needing to seek help from a professional. But some other people may have found that between, I know friends in Australia, for them, it's getting up in the morning, going for a swim on the surfboard, it's the sunrise when the waves, and that brings to them that's their 30 or 40 minutes to be at peace with themselves, with the waves.
But that moment is, I call it distraction. You're distracting yourself from your mind through a physical activity.
So diversional therapy.
Yeah. But the day when you don't have that distraction, how your mind is, that is what I want to see.
Well, that's good. Yes.
That's a very interesting point.
Yeah, great point. So that's what people, if they do want to come or get in contact with the Wellbeing Sanctuary, these are some of the benefits. For anyone who does want to come and see you, what are some of the other services that you do offer?
There are, like everything on the planet, there is psychological counseling,
Yeah.
hypnotherapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, neuro-linguistic programming. I have my own created program, which I have named Decode You, which is decoding your subconscious mind and becoming mentally fit. And chakra balancing, Reiki, Theta healing, like all that's there in the everywhere. It's there. Plus,
Well, just being in the studio, my heart rate's dropped 10 points. So thank you very much for coming in. For more details, if you do want to see the website, yourwellbeingsanctuary.com. We're joined by the holistic health expert, the founder and the CEO, Sarmistha Mitra. Thank you very much for coming in once again to Talk
Thank you so
100.
much.